Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and today I'm going to review the 4K edition of Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. You can also find me over Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Movie Guy 365, as well as over at the Disney Magic Hour podcast. I'll put a link for that in the description. Alright, Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, the final chapter in the original trilogy, is available on 4K. We're going to talk about the picture quality and the audio. Before we do anything else, we're going to do a quick unboxing of the slipcover. Alright, Return of the Jedi, Star Wars Episode 6 in 4K, slipcover edition. Nice cover. Kind of dig the green aesthetic. And then we have the back and the spine. And then the interior's pretty much the same, matches the slipcover. And then of course we have the dual stacking of these discs, which is a crime in itself, but there we go. So yeah, just not really feeling the double stacking here, but you know, it is what it is. At least until we get hopefully a better edition down the road, maybe Steelbook or so. All right, now let's talk about the picture quality and the audio. I will say overall that the original trilogy has had pretty much mixed results. Now, while these were shot on film, and that is always like appreciated, the fact that Lucasfilm to a point just kind of muddled with the original prints to a degree where things start to look a little off, and you know, just the grain is kind of frozen in places or removed in some scenes, and then and DNR and all those things kind of contribute into what we get here as far as the 4K edition of the original trilogy. Return of the Jedi is pretty much no exception here. So it has some good spots and it has some not so good spots. The not so good spots are, as the aforementioned DNR. This was used quite a bit over here on the 4K edition, and it just comes across as things that look a little waxy. They look a little too smooth, clean, and then you have moments of film grain that are here, but then other moments that it's gone, and it's not very consistent. I think is probably my biggest complaint here overall on the 4K picture quality. That being said, as far as utilizing the HDR in that aspect, I think it looks really good. I think black levels are really nicely done here. Didn't really have any issues with macro blocking or elevated black levels. The scenes of the battle in space and the Emperor's throne room scenes, they all look appropriately dark, especially during the Vader Luke Skywalker fight scene. So that looks great. The color balance of the lightsabers against the blackness looks really fantastic. It looks better than I've ever seen it, and appropriately so. Color levels as far as HDR go, they look fantastic as well. As I mentioned, the lightsabers, the laser blasts, just the overall explosions, those things look really good, and I think are very well detailed, and they look great. Now, as far as detail itself goes, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Some of the more practical things, of course, look great. The up-close shots of uniforms, Vader's helmet, just the Emperor himself, looks really detailed and look a lot more, crusty than he's ever looked. But there are moments throughout the film where it just, like landscaping and some of that texture can be a little bit too smooth. So it's okay. It's got that good level of detail to it, but it's not as emphasized as it should be. You go back to older movies, that have are around the same time period, and utilize with the 4K, it looks great. Just the appropriate level of detail. But here it's a little bit off and on, so just be aware of that. It's not going to be a perfect looking picture, but for the most part, the 4K HDR really does work here on Return of the Jedi. Audio mix goes Dolby Atmos, so we have a lot going on here. Of course, the music is going to be front and center. It really fills the room, and it just does does so very nicely. It gives you, it does so much better than we did on the previous 6.1 audio mix on the previous Blu-ray. Front channel sounds great. It holds all that information, jets it out to you really nicely, and it's a stronger mix than previous releases. The center channel dialogue comes through nice and clean, clear. The LFE kicks in on very much appropriate times. It's not overly aggressive, it's not overly strong, it's just, you know, appropriate for the scene. It just doesn't go out of its way. It's very restrained, but it makes itself known. The mid-level speakers, the rears, they all provide their ambient action. Also, just the normal, you know, transition from front to back sounds great. There's a lot going on there. Just a little bit of discreet, you know, as far as that goes, but it's not going to be overly aggressive in that respect. Your height speakers are also utilized pretty nicely. They're just not overly aggressive as well. So yeah, audio mix I think sounds pretty good. It's better than what we got over on the previous Blu-ray, that's to be sure. It's just not going to be demo worthy. So just be aware, it's a really good audio mix in that regard. So my final scores, I'm going to go ahead and give the 4K picture quality a solid B. Just the overall softness, the DNR, and just the kind of meddling of the source print, it just lowers the score. It's not going to be a perfect looking disc, but for 4K and HDR, I think it's going, it should satisfy you if you're a fan of the format. As far as the Dolby Atmos mix goes, I'm going to go ahead and give that a B+. It's solid. It handles the music cues really nicely. The action scenes are really handled pretty good, and it's a very good Atmos mix. And I think Return of the Jedi has never sounded better, and I think all the original trilogy films have really sounded nice utilizing the Atmos mix here and over the standard Blu-ray 6.1 from previous releases. So that's my review of Star Wars Episode 6 Return of the Jedi. Let me know in the comment section below if you had a chance to check it out and what your thoughts were and of the original trilogy in general on 4K. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. So until next time, this is Adam with The Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.